McFarlane just dropped The Master of Disaster. Here's a look at the brand new McFarlane toys. Movie Maniacs, Rockies, Apollo Creed, Platinum Edition. Rocky is a small-time Philadelphia boxer going nowhere until an unbelievable shot to fight the world heavyweight champion Apollo Creed lights a fire inside him. Now that we have the Prince of Punch out of his package, let's take the tape measure to see how tall the Platinum Edition Movie Maniacs Rocky Apollo Creed stands. Just though, before I do that, I'd like to thank the folks over at McFarlane Toys that were kind enough to provide this sample. Apollo Creed is going to stand the same as the regular release. He's going to be about 6¼ inches in height, or about 16 centimeters tall. As for that other Apollo, let's bring in the regular release right now. You can see, though, the only thing that's changed is cosmetics on the character. Both Apollo Creeds are sculpted the exact same. Both have the exact same swinging punch pose. And also, as well, like they have the exact same display stand. What is, though, changed is not necessarily what you're seeing down below here. It's what you're more or less seeing here in the trunks and in the boots, as both of those do approach the colors a little bit tad lighter. The Platinum Edition, for example, does take the blues and it does take the reds, and it lightens them a lot more. Maybe not as much for the reds, definitely a lot more, though, for the blues. Speaking as well of Platinum Editions, here's as well what the figure looks like, what the statue looks like, with the Platinum Edition Rocky. I know I showed you this already before, but Apollo Creed does come included with a cardboard background. The thing that is neat about this, as I did show you in the Apollo Creed review before, is that if you already have yourself a Rocky, you can actually put the two together and you complete the entire ring. The thing I was originally going to say about these backgrounds is obviously they're going to take up a lot more space. The thing you can also really do with them too is that you have a side on this side, you have a side on this side. You could really combine the two together. I know I didn't show you that in the review of Apollo Creed, but you can do it here. So if you didn't want to take up a whole lot less space, you could do that. The thing though about it is it's going to make quarters a little bit more tighter when it comes to Rocky and Apollo. They're just not going to fit together in that same squared space unless maybe you widen off the sides like this. Something also I was going to think about mentioning, and I quickly changed my mind about it, is that each one of them obviously do have Rocky on the bottom. I was thinking if it's with the idea in mind that you were going to take two of them and you're going to combine them together, my first initial thought was, why wouldn't they have made Rocky as a half font? So you'd have ROC on one side and then maybe you'd have KY on the other, so that when you put the two together and you'd have the giant boxing ring, that Rocky would be one font across both. Thing about that, though, and the reasonings why I never mentioned it, was thinking about it again. If you only ended up picking up, let's just say, only one of the figures, then you don't feel like you're necessarily robbed where you're only seeing like half of the font. You're getting the full experience of having Rocky. And again, like if you wanted to, you could really display both of them on one. You're just going to have a lot less of a ring. You're only going to really have half the ring to work with. Because this is a Platinum Edition of Apollo Creed, it also means essentially that he's getting the exact same accessories as the regular release, in that he comes included with the trading card, he comes included with the actual trading card stand, an alternate head sculpt, and then a mystery bag right here. As we've done before, I think what we'll do first is we'll open up the mystery bag just to see the contents inside. And just to give you a refresher course, what we did get, though, in the original Apollo Creed was a Mickey sticker that said Southpaws ought to be banned. And then we got ourselves, I'm not going to read through the entire thing, but we also got ourselves a little advertised boxing poster sticker, which again, both of these you just peel off the back, you put them anywhere that you want. We got also with Rocky, all I want to do is go the distance. And then we also got as well this one, kind of again looks like a little advertisement poster for Rocky. Nice little stickers. I haven't yet done anything with them though. My real curiosity though is I already know that this is the exact same trading card, and I'll bring in the other one just to, you guys don't think I'm making fibs. I am curious though if what's inside this bag is in fact the exact same stuff that we already got, and the only way to know that is to open up the bag and check out the contents inside. I would hope at the very least they would have changed things up so they're not the exact same stickers, and they are in fact, oh no they're not. We've got the same Mickey sticker, so let's grab the one from the side here. Got the exact same Mickey sticker, so that's good. I can use one, and I don't know what I would end up doing with the other one. But what I did, though, get different is this one here. Every champion wants a contender who refused to give up, which is actually, again, kind of more of an inspirational quote similar to the one we got with Rocky. Which I have to wonder, though, if this is something that's randomly selected, that if you pick up, say, 4 or 5 Apollo Creeds, why are you going to pick up 4 or 5 Apollo Creeds? If they are going to have, in fact, different stickers inside, or if that the regular version and the Platinum Edition were always going to have, like, so the Platinum Edition will obviously have these two, and then the regular version will also come, with... Okay. Let's move all those all off to the side. As already mentioned, though, you do get yourself the exact same trading card. This is the one that we got included with a regular release. Nothing is really at all different. Probably, if anything, the only thing that's different is on the back of them is that the numbering. Yeah, so this one here is P3 out of 5600. This one here is P9 out of 5600. Strange still that the Platinum Edition and the regular versions are both limited at 5600, the exact same number. Still, I would have thought that the Platinum Edition would have been a little bit less, but it is as it is. I mean, you get 5600 pieces released worldwide. Same exact card, same exact display stands if you have them facing obviously the right way. I do like these. The only thing about them is what I did say earlier is you have to kind of have them right in the middle. If you put the cards anywhere off to the side, for example, the card kind of just leans. They could have made it a little bit bigger. I mean, obviously for the sake of not occupying too much of the card's trading of real estate space. I mean, obviously they wanted to make the verses a little bit smaller. You just kind of have to put it right smack dab in the middle. But nice little trading card. The other thing that he also comes included with is, in fact, the exact same head that came packed also with the regular release, and that's a bruised and battered version. This is, I didn't get two of these, by the way. I'm just actually bringing the one that we got here with the regular version, because I did want to hold up the one that we got with the Platinum, the exact same head sculpt. Not that I necessarily would have expected them to include a completely different head portrait. I don't think that's the case at all. I mean, to be also fair, you get two of these. Well, you don't get two of these, but you get two different head sculpts. So really, you could have the Platinum with the battered face, and then you could have, say, the regular release with the clean face or the non-beat up face. So this is the head sculpt that we get for the alternate portrait. And then, of course, like before, we get ourselves, like, again, a non-beat up Apollo Creed face. Either one of these can be changed out. I'll show you guys what that looks like in a second. First, though, before that, where's the other Apollo Creed? Oh, it's just over here. Just put it off to the side. Bringing the other Apollo Creed in, they're exactly the same to one another. I did say, and I made mention to this, that the one that we first looked at seemed a little lighter in the face compared to the skin tone of the rest of his body. I still feel that way, but I feel, though, that looking at the new head sculpt, it may look even lighter than the rest of his body. Not that that's a deal breaker, because the head sculpts on both cases is fantastic, but the face does have like a little bit of a yellowish tint to it. I don't know really necessarily which one is brighter. You guys can let me know down below, but this also as well gives me an opportunity to show you guys that the bodies are exactly the same to one another. The way that he's swinging is exactly the same as well. The only thing that's really different, though, is the obvious apparent changes to the trunks. The trunks is really the big thing that really marks the differences between the two figures. It certainly, though, isn't the display bases. The bases are exactly the same. Both, though, feature Apollo Creed. Both have the same gold on the medallion on the front and the medallions on the side, and they both have the American symbols or the American colors of red, white, and blue. I still don't know why they've put the placement of the pegs or placement of these little squares here. I did sort of allude the idea that maybe as a future wave down the road, future prize fighters may enter the ring. We may get ourselves a Clubber Lang. We may hopefully get ourselves an Ivan Drago. And I'm wondering if maybe these little square holes, because they're covered over right now, but I wonder if maybe they're not going to be covered later on, and they're probably going to be used for where the figure's feet are going to be. I don't know if a figure's foot is going to end up being over here. That seems like it's a little too close to the edge of the ring, but I do wonder if that's probably going to be used for a figure down the road. Again, going back to the colorings of the bodies, personally, really between the two, and if I had only given the choice to get one of these, I honestly probably would have gone with the Platinum Edition. I like the darker colors of the navy a little bit more than the lighter blues. Whether you prefer the lighter blues, though, as it looks in the movie, I kind of like the darker approach myself. The stars, I think, get a little bit more chance to shine, no pun intended, by the fact that you can see them a lot easier here on the darker stripping of the blue. The lighter blue still allows the stars to show, but I think that they look a little bit nicer, though, on the backdrop of the darker blue. The socks, as well as the boots, look to be identical to one another. The only thing, again, that's different is not the red necessarily, but the fact that the stars themselves, as well as the stripes in the socks, are clearly more lighter in the blue. Again, the display bases are going to be exactly the same to another. But the benefit, though, at least of these, is if you already have, say, for example, this one, going back to the idea of getting the battered face, it's just a case of, once again, you take the head. Let me just put this down here for a second. Before I actually do that, something I did mention, though, with the earlier review of Apollo Creed is I really like the way that they've followed the line around the side of his face for where they make the dividing line. So if to remove the head, to look at this from the side, you really wouldn't be able to know that there's a part to the body that is removable. Something, though, I didn't mention, or I didn't get the chance to mention when we looked at Rocky. I'm going to bring back in Rocky here for a second. Rocky has this very rather interesting way they've done the shoulder here. This arm is completely molded to the rest of his body, but something I didn't mention in his review is that there's a line cut right here. So I'm wondering if they're probably going to be using this body maybe for a down the road release of a Rocky, and that they're probably going to be sculpting a different arm attachment. So like, not that it would be a removable arm necessarily, but I know, we're looking at Apollo Creed in this review, but this line right here leads me to believe that down the road, they may in fact maybe use this mold again and take this arm off and remold a completely different configured arm. That's my guess, at least. That's my guess. Let's move that out of the way, though. Apollo Creed doesn't have that, though. Obviously, he's a little bit more... Well, he's finished all the way around except for this one area right here. So again, like, I'm not sure why specifically like this arm is attached to his body and why this arm seems to be a separate piece. It's not that it's necessarily removable. It's not that you can mix and match the parts. Although it does kind of give one idea, though. If they had included extra arms, you could, like the head, though, detach the head, change out the head, but you could do something similar to the arm. Pop the arm off and replace it with a different configured arm. I'm sure that's something down the road that they're planning. Again, though, if you did want to change out the head, and this whole time I was talking about changing out the heads, and I went off on a weird side tangent, we're just going to pop the head off right now. We're going to replace it with a battered face. And again, showing you guys the differences between the two. There's a lot more colors opportunities here. Obviously, you got more of a red kind of coloring or a tint to the swelling of his eyes now. His lips, though, seem very similar. Also, as well, the coloring of his hair hasn't changed, obviously, at all. It's really more just the coloring and the swelling around his eyes. That's really the only thing that's a telltale difference between the two. So the benefit of these, at least, even though we haven't yet picked up the regular release of Rocky, but at least the benefit from the standpoint of Apollo Creed is that you can change out the two different looks to the character. You can't necessarily change the bodies because the bodies are permanently molded the way that they are right now. But, though, at least... one other way that you can differentiate between the two characters is that, for example, you could have, like I'm doing right now, the Platinum Edition with the clean face, the lighter trunk regular version of Apollo Creed with the battered face. So it's not just the colors of the trunks that would differentiate the two statues. Remember that thing I was mentioning about Apollo Creed, the regular and the Platinum Edition having the exact same limited copy run at 5,600 copies? Well, I don't have the Rocky, so I decided to do a little checking online. Sure enough, the regular and the Platinum Edition of Rocky Balboa have the exact same limited run of 6,400 copies worldwide. So it doesn't really necessarily matter whether you pick up the regular or you pick up the Platinum. One is no more rare than the other. Obviously, though, the differences on Rocky are a little bit easier to spot. That the regular version of Rocky would have had white trunks. The Platinum that we looked at here on this channel has the red trunks. It's, though, a little harder to spot here in Apollo. It isn't this time the red that gives it away. It's actually the blue. The blue, the darker blue, was more approached on the regular version. The Platinum Edition, surprisingly enough, went with a lighter blue. If given the choice, now let's just say I only have enough shelf space, or really, honestly, I only want to pick up one Apollo Creed. Unlike, though, Rocky, I think I probably would have been more interested in getting the white trunk Rocky. I think the opposite, though, for Apollo Creed. I kind of like more the darker navy blue myself. It gives a chance not only for the stars to shine better on his trunks, but I think the blue, the darker blue, works better with just the overall color scheme of the character. Now, the figure itself, like I said, from a sculpting standpoint, the Platinum and the regular, like the Rocky, are exactly the same. They haven't changed anything different, but what you can change as a collector is the fact that this one does have, like the other Apollo Creed, have two different head sculpts. That means that when you're displaying it, there's a lot more changes than just cosmetics to the trunks. You can have one displayed, as I showed you in this review, with the regular face, and then you can have the other one with the battered face, so that, again, you can have them very much different from one another, so it's not just the coloring of the trunks alone. Pricing is also not going to change at all between these. The regular and the Platinum are going to still be around $25.99, about $26 online. Unfortunately, I haven't found any of these in the wild, but at least they are available online. So if you haven't had any luck like myself to have any luck finding these, you can easily find them in places online where you normally buy McFarlane toys. Speaking of McFarlane toys, I'd like to thank the folks over at McFarlane that once again did provide the sample of the brand new movie Maniacs Rocky. And this time around, we were looking at Apollo Creed, and this time around, we were looking at the Apollo Creed Platinum Edition. If you only had one choice, let's just throw this to you, the viewing audience. If you only had one choice to pick up an Apollo Creed, which one would you choose? Would you go with the Platinum Edition that had the lighter trunks that we were looking at in this review? Or would you rather instead go with the regular version that has the dark navy trunks? Let me know which one would you choose down below. And if also you guys did enjoy this video, I want to throw it a like. If you guys are loving the content you guys are seeing and you'd like to stick around for more, I hope so. We are going to be also, even though we're kind of wrapping up things right now for movie Maniacs, but we're not wrapping up things at all with McFarlane toys. In fact, there's a good stack of stuff that we're still going to be looking at, and those are all going to be coming up soon to this channel. So making sure you're coming back regularly. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.